This historical true crime case remains one of the most puzzling unsolved mysteries in American history. On Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder family home in Fayetteville, West Virginia, burned down. While George and Jenny Sodder and 4 of their children escaped, 5 of their children were never found. Their remains were never recovered, and several bizarre clues led to speculation of kidnapping, arson, and a possible cover-up. This case is everything. A tragic fire, missing children, eerie clues, and decades of unanswered questions. It was supposed to be a night of celebration, a warm Christmas Eve in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, George, Jenny, and their 10 children, gathered in their small but cozy home. Laughter filled the air as the younger children played with their toys, unaware that this night would change their lives forever. But as the Sodders drifted asleep, someone was watching, a stranger lurking in the darkness. And soon the flames began. Jenny Sodder awoke to the smell of smoke. At first, she thought it was a simple chimney fire, but as she looked out the hallway, terror gripped her. The house was in flames. She screamed for George. The children, George and Jenny, scrambled to save their children, but as they searched the burning home, 5 of them were nowhere to be found. Where were they? Trapped? Already lost? Or had something more sinister happened? Strangely, nothing worked. The phone line had been cut. The family's ladder, always kept nearby, was missing. And when George ran to his truck to drive for help, it wouldn't start. Had someone planned this? When the flames died, the unthinkable happened. The 5 Sodder children were gone. No bones, no remains, nothing. But the nightmare was only beginning. When investigators combed through the remains, they found no bones. No human remains at all. The official explanation? The fire burned so hot that it destroyed everything. But experts later claimed that was impossible. Stranger still, a telephone repairman confirmed the phone line wasn't burned. It was cut. The family ladder? It was found tossed down an embankment. And then came the most chilling clues. Reports that the children had been seen alive. A woman in a Charleston hotel claimed she saw the children with 2 strange men. Another witness in Florida saw a group of children matching their descriptions. Were they kidnapped? Trafficked? And if so, by whom? George Sodder never stopped searching. He put up a billboard on the highway, his children's faces staring back at passing cars. The reward for information? $5,000. But the answers never came. Then came the final twist. A photograph, mailed decades later, depicting a young man, hauntingly similar to Louis, one of the missing boys. On the back, the words, Louis Sodder, I love Brother Frankie. Illo Boys, a 90132. A cryptic message. But was it really him? Or a cruel hoax? Years passed, but the pain never faded. George and Jenny Sodder never rebuilt their home. Instead, they built a monument to their missing children, a billboard that stood by the roadside for decades, calling out for justice. But the deeper they dug, the darker the mystery became. Then came the warnings. Men in suits knocking on the door, telling George to stop investigating. Strange cars parked near the house, watching. Jenny received a call where no one spoke, just breathing on the other end. Were they getting too close to the truth? One night, a Fayetteville resident claimed he overheard a man bragging about setting the Sodder house on fire. He said it was done for revenge. But why? And who ordered it? George Sodder wasn't just a businessman. He was a vocal critic of Mussolini. Many believed his political enemies targeted him. A warning disguised as a tragedy. Then came the sightings. A woman claimed she saw the missing Sodder children at a hotel, but they weren't alone. They were with 2 men speaking Italian. She tried to talk to the children, but the men stopped her. Years later, Jenny received a letter with a photograph. A young man who looked just like Louis Sodder. On the back, chilling words. Louis Sodder, I love Brother Frankie. Illo Boys, a 90132. Was this proof? Had Louis survived? Or was this a cruel hoax? The Sodders hired a private investigator who made a startling discovery. The fire marshal had found a piece of human vertebrae in the wreckage, but when it was tested, it belonged to someone much older than the children. This was not a child's remains. It had never even been exposed to fire. Was it planted? And if so, by who? Jenny Sodder never stopped searching. She wore black mourning clothes for the rest of her life. George died still hoping for answers. But even after they were gone, the mystery lived on. For decades, the billboard stood, a monument to 5 missing children. But in 1989, after Jenny's passing, it was finally taken down. And with it, the last public reminder of a case that still haunts history. What really happened to the Sodder children? Was it an accident or something far more sinister? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more chilling true crime stories, don't forget to like and subscribe.